Hi, I'm Mitch Shoemaker, and today is day 21 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on doing at least 2 things every day that I don't want to do just because I know they're good for me. So, yay, I made it to day 21 and only 79 days to go. That number is getting a little bit smaller, thankfully. Anyway, still 79 days is a long time. There's a lot of things I just did not want to do today, and one of them is admitting the fact that I'm sick. But I am sick. Getting a cold. Got a cold. Started yesterday. Pretended that wasn't what was going to happen to me. Tried to take a bunch of vitamins and minerals and, stuff. Keep forgetting to take my vitaminis, which would, my vitamins. Got a whole closet. Not closet. I've got vitamins, multivitamins, vitamin C, and my DDR Prime essential oil vitamins that I take on a daily basis. And of course, I forgot to take them yesterday when I started feeling sick. And then I forgot to take them again today. And it's like, oh, I feel sick. And the crazy thing about me is when I feel sick, it's a perfect opportunity for me to take better care of myself. And for some reason, I use it as a perfect opportunity to do absolutely nothing, including not taking care of myself. So, today was kind of a prime example of that because, of course, I went to work. And, of course, there's some rule at work that if we're not feeling good, we're supposed to do the quick minute visit. We're supposed to get seen by one of the PAs before we start our shift to make sure that we're cleared for work. And if we have a fever or anything like that, we're supposed to go home for 5 days unless, our fever breaks before the 5 days and we feel well enough to come back to work. So we can either take that time with or without pay, but we're required to take it. So, of course, that would have been the right thing to do. I did not do that today because I don't want to pay the money to see a PA, and I didn't want to have to be sent home because it's Friday, and I'm got the weekend to try to get better, and I have an appointment on Tuesday with the doctor, so I figure if I still have a cold come Tuesday, I'll talk to the doctor about it, which of course my appointment's at the end of the day. So, which again is dumb because it was Friday. I could have just done it today. It's only a half day. Only has to take half the hours, not as much hours that I would have to take off. Plus, the 5 days, 1 day would count for today, 2 days for the weekend. So that's already 3 days. And if I don't have a fever on Monday and I feel better come Monday, I go back to work on Monday and it's no big deal. And I don't miss nearly as much work as if I were to take, Tuesday and have to take the rest of the week off or something like that. So, that's kind of where I'm at right now. But not taking care of myself. That's, of course, doing things I don't want to do. But some of the things that I've been doing that I don't really want to do is using a neti pot because I know that'll help clean things out, and taking a spoonful of, apple cider vinegar because that's supposed to help. Put some cinnamon in my water. That helped a little bit, but I think I'm out of my little cinnamon drops in my kitchen, which I didn't realize I was because it's not filling up in my water bottle, so I'm going to have to get some more cinnamon. Sucked in a whole bunch of On Guard drops today, which I did not want to do either. So that was kind of annoying. And then, of course, I forgot that I don't have data on my phone. I remembered I don't have data on my phone. I just forgot how much I use my phone for things. And because I don't have that on my phone until next month because I refused to pay for it, I chose to this morning to just Google the addresses I needed to go to today after work so I could just handwrite them. It's been a long time since I've handwritten addresses to go places and had to figure out where I was going and do it without using the map system and the GPS talking to me while I was driving. And interestingly enough, because I looked it up and I wrote it down and I'd seen it on the map, that when I went to go to those places, I glanced at the directions before I drove out of the parking lot, but the rest of the time, other than just doubting myself at some point, I literally just drove to all of those places. I just went right where the directions were. I could remember them, and I was like, it's been a long time since my brain just worked like that. And I was like, oh, maybe that's because how it works. I have to look at something and then write it down, and then I can do it. Like it's a process. It's a multiple thing to get registered in my brain to help me to focus. But I remembered the directions, and I was able to go straight to my friend's house to drop off the container that she from my car accidents I've had like in my house for almost a year now, which is crazy. And then I was able to go from there, and I took a different route because I looked at the map and I knew pretty much, had a general idea where I was going for the MRI that I had to do. Didn't want to do, but knew where it was at in general because I looked at it. So I was like, okay, I didn't need directions for that. I know pretty much where I'm going until I got there. And then I was kind of freaking out that I was in the wrong place because I didn't see the sign on the street. And then I saw the sign after I looked at my directions, like the address. I'm like, oh yeah, it's right there. I'm staring right at it and I can't even see it. Sometimes my brain just doesn't see things, doesn't register. So panicked a little bit, but they actually had an open MRI, which I'd never done before. And it was a little bit less scary. And even though they had to put stuff on my head and whatever, they didn't like pin my head down. They put something over my neck, but I'm like, it had this open space. And I was like, cool, with the exception of the fact that I wore a shirt that was too tight around my neck. I was like, my shirt around my neck was tighter than the stuff that they were putting on me, which was really nice because it wasn't tight. It wasn't restricting. The only thing that was kind of scary about it is at the very end, I made the mistake when he said it was all done and he was coming to get me. I was like, cool. And then I opened my eyes. That was bad because even though I knew there's all this open space around me, like literally like an inch above my head, and maybe it was, 2 or 3 inches, but right above my head, of course, it's the machine that's like right there. And that kind of freaked me out. So I had to close my eyes and wait for him to pull me out. And then I was like, I'm just ready to jump out of this thing. But it wasn't too bad. And in fact, I was praying and all of the noises and the vibrations and everything like that, God just put like positive thoughts and ideas into my head, like that I could imagine stuff that was comforting to me while I was in the machine with all of those noises. And I could associate it with something comforting or something nice instead of something scary. And there was one that was kind of scary, and then I was able to just flip it to something positive. And I'm not normally able to do that. And so I know that was God giving that to me. He was giving me that peace in that MRI today. And I was like, I was so grateful for that. Just so grateful. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I could do this. And it was nice because it was an open MRI, so it wasn't nearly as scary. So I didn't have, the huge panic attacks like I did the last one I did. So I was like, oh, this was way better. And it was way cheaper. This is cool. And then, of course, they gave me a disc, which I tried to read, and my computer's too old and outdated, and it doesn't have the software to download whatever program I have to have in order to read the disc. So I'm going to have to wait to see what they say, what they send to my doctor, and find out a week from now what it says. And then of course I came home and I didn't want to do anything because I'm like, I don't feel good. So I used this as an excuse, like, one, I don't feel good, and two, I did an MRI today, so I have the freedom of playing games on my phone and watching TV. And then once again, I felt like I was wasting my time. I was staying awake when I should have been sleeping or resting and taking care of myself and my body, and I wasn't doing any of those things, and I ended up kind of feeling a little bit worse. I did eventually let myself fall asleep on my couch for a couple of hours, which was nice. And then I got up, and then I started doing things again, which I did not want to do. But I did laundry because I was like, oh, it's my laundry day. I totally forgot about that earlier. So I ended up doing laundry and doing dishes, which I don't know why I did dishes. I needed to do dishes, obviously, but like, I don't feel good. It's my perfect excuse to not do things. And I used my neti pot again, which I know is good for me. And then because, I dropped off the thing to my friend that sang the song, and I have the song, and then I sang that song yesterday that I put on a YouTube video, not a public YouTube video. I went online to copyright my other song that my sister wrote the music for and that my friend recorded for me with her singing it. So I finally did that tonight, and then I ended up being late to the temple because it took too long for me. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, I know, I'm pretty sure it's my ADHD brain, but it's hard for me to say that because the ADHD thing is new to me. Okay, let me rephrase that. I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD until like November or December. So I've only officially been diagnosed with having ADHD for the past 2 or 3 months. However, I've had it my entire life. So some of the things that I have or that I struggle with, I've never noticed or knew I mean, I've noticed them and I've struggled with them. I just never realized that they were associated with ADHD. And one of those things is my brain does not have an off switch, which is really annoying. Or maybe there's like a disconnect between my brain and my body. I'm not really sure what it is, but it's like I will tell myself, or I will have thoughts like, okay, I need to get up and do something. Or I need to just hit save on this application and do it later because it's time for me to go. And I don't have time to finish this. And I'm like, I know I don't have time to finish this. And I keep going and I keep doing what I'm doing. And so I keep finishing my application. And then I go and switch my laundry. And then I go to the temple. And then I'm 15 minutes late when I could have just stopped the application, or I could have just left the laundry, or, any one of those things. But my brain doesn't seem to comprehend time, and it doesn't seem to have I tell it needs to do something. I tell my body it needs to stop, and my brain's like, that's nice. And I was like, okay, but my brain, I don't understand what it is. Like, my body just doesn't listen. My brain says, okay, it's time to go. And my body's like, that's nice. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. It's like it has a mind of its own, and it doesn't understand stop. It doesn't understand off. There's this not an off switch. So when I get going and I get all these ideas going, I jump from one idea to another idea, and I just keep going like the Energizer Bunny, or like Wonder Woman. I think sometimes I'm Wonder Woman, and I can just do everything and spin around in circles and go in every direction at the same time. And I'm just, amazing. Like Wonder Woman was amazing. And sometimes that's true. And sometimes I just make a big, huge mess of everything. And I'm late for everything. And then I'm stressed out about everything, none of which helps me when I don't feel good. So it was not good for me to be doing all of those things because I don't feel good. It's good to do things I don't want to do because they need to be done. And it's nice to know that I finally turned in the application to copyright my song, because I needed to have done that months ago. And I've had the money for at least a month, and I haven't done anything with it, or at least a few weeks anyway. And I could have had the money months ago, and I just chose not to do it. So I don't know why I randomly choose to do things at the most random of times. And sometimes, they're good things to do, but it's to my own personal detriment because the timing is terrible, or because I don't feel good, or because there's something else that I need to be doing, or that I should be doing, that I've committed to doing, like cleaning the temple every Friday night. And I don't have an excuse for being late because I know how much time it takes, and I know when I'm supposed to be there. And I stare at the time, and I just don't get up, and I just don't go, and I just don't do. And I don't know how to explain it. To me, it's kind of like learning something new, and I know what I'm supposed to do in my head, but it takes a while to get into my heart, and it takes a while to become a part of me, for me to truly understand what it is and to truly do it. And I think my brain kind of works the same way, where I tell myself it's time to go do something, and it's like, yeah, just, it takes a while to connect to my body and be like, okay, let's actually do that. And then every once in a while it just randomly clicks, and I'm like, cool, we're clicking, let's do stuff. And then I don't want to stop because my brain is clicking with my body, and it's doing what I'm telling it to do. And I'm afraid if I stop, that it won't connect again, or that it'll be a struggle to connect again. So when it's connecting to do something like an application for copywriting my song that I've wanted to do for months, I don't want to stop because I want to be able to finish it, and I'm afraid I won't come home and finish it. And I need to let myself be okay with stopping, and I need to let myself be okay with starting again. And these are things I struggle with, and I think they're associated with having ADHD. It sounds like some of the stuff that I've learned about ADHD, but again, it's hard for me to make that connection because there are things I've struggled with my entire life, and it's not been until recently that I'm like, oh, this might be because I have ADHD that I struggle with this, that I have this disconnect, that I can't seem to get that off switch to work, or I can't seem to get what I want to do to connect to my body, what I'm telling my brain to do, what I'm telling my mind to do, and my body's just like, I don't understand. We just don't understand. And they're like, okay, fine, we'll get up and do it. Or it's kind of like I have two controllers in my brain, I think, sometimes, where one is telling me all the stuff I'm supposed to be doing, and the other one is like, I'm not paying any attention to anything that's going on, and I'm standing in the way of the controls, so you can talk all you want, but we're not listening. We're not doing, we're not moving. It's very frustrating to me. And so I don't know what any of that has to do with things I don't want to do, because I did that again tonight, and I came home and I watched TV, and I was like, I was going to watch conference, and I didn't want to do that because I'm tired and my brain's not thinking clearly because I'm sick, and that I should not have turned the TV on. But I turned the TV on, and an hour and a half later I was like, why did I do that? That was just dumb. And then I wrote in my journal when I'm falling asleep, and I don't want to make my video tonight because I don't feel good and my voice is all scratchy and disappearing, and all I want to do is curl up in my bed and sleep. And I'm making my video tonight. So lots of things I just didn't want to do, and lots of things I just didn't do today. And then I just feel like I feel worse, not just because I have a cold, but then I just emotionally, spiritually feel worse because I didn't do the stuff to uplift myself, and I didn't let myself rest because, I like to think that watching TV and playing games on my phone is a way to shut down or to rest, but it's just a different way to entertain or activate my brain because my body doesn't want to do whatever my brain is telling it to do. But it keeps me stimulated, which keeps me from resting. So it's not actually helping my body to heal itself when I have a cold. It's not allowing myself to sleep. It's not allowing me to do anything else. So I don't feel better when I do that. And sometimes I deprive myself of sleep. A lot of times I deprive myself of sleep when I get caught in that cycle, which I need more sleep, but I don't feel good. So here I have all afternoon to take a nap, but I could have slept for 4 or 5 hours, and I slept for 2 or 1 or 2. And then, of course, I could have been in bed 2 hours ago or an hour and a half ago, and I'm not because, again, I watched TV. So I don't do things that I don't know how to take care of myself very well, and I'm learning. And I'm guessing that God is just giving me another opportunity to learn to just shut down things and to shut down my brain, which is so hard because it doesn't really have an off switch. It doesn't. It has an I'm distracted switch, or it has a like I'm okay because I've got enough other stimulants going on somewhere else that, whatever, or I'm run down enough that, okay, like my body, if my body is tired enough, my brain just can't keep going. But if my body is not tired enough, my brain's like, hoo-hoo, because I swear it doesn't have an off switch. I wish it did. I really wish it did. It does when I'm on medication, but I'm not on medication, so no off switch when I'm not on medication. Makes me kind of want to take my medication when I don't feel good, because maybe then my off switch would work and I would get some more sleep, and then I would get better faster, because I do know some people, when they're sick, if they get up and move around and do more, they can just work right through whatever their illness is. But for me, the more I work and the more I do, the worse I get. And if I want to get better faster, I have to sleep. I have to just sleep it off. I just have to rest. And if I could sleep for like 3 days, 2 or 3 days straight, my body would like heal itself. But I don't let myself sleep even when I have the time to sleep. And I don't let myself sleep when I have the time to sleep when I feel good. So it's even harder when I don't feel good. So, and that's when I need it the most. So more lessons for myself in having to learn to go to bed and having to learn how to shut down my brain that doesn't believe in shutting down, even when I'm sick. But I am grateful that I'm at least still making my videos. I still read my scriptures and meditationals today. I wrote in my journal today, which is fantastic for a Friday. And I'm trying to do stuff like the neti pot and putting honey and hot water together and making some thyme, putting some tea and thyme, I guess it's called thyme tea. I don't know, just putting the thyme seasoning herbs into some hot water and boiling it up and drinking that, because those things help. So I'm trying to do things that will help my body to heal itself as far as what I'm putting into it. Now I just got to convince myself to stop talking and sleep. And I don't want to do that either. I mean, I need to do that, so that's what I'm going to do. But it's stuff I struggle with. It's just stuff I struggle with, and I think the ADHD part of my brain and my struggles are just a lot more obvious to me right now because I don't feel good, and it's getting in the way of my taking care of myself and helping myself feel better. And then there's that part of me that still wants to not give up on my goals and not stop making my videos and not take a break from doing the things I don't want to do because I'm working really hard to make these changes, and I can tell that I feel better and that I'm having a more of a positive attitude, and I'm trying to put a positive spin on things. And I like that my kitchen is getting cleaned up. I like that I have more counter space. I like that I feel better about myself, and I like that I'm following through on something. And again, it's that fear in the back of my brain that if I hit the brakes, if I stop, if I miss a day, just because I don't feel good, then I might not start again, or it will take me a really long time, like I did with my last videos that took me like probably a year instead of 100 days to do 100 days of recognizing God's hand in my life. And I don't want it to take a year to do 100 days of doing at least 2 things every day I don't want to do. I want it to take 79 more days and be done. Although I do hope it becomes a habit and I'm more willing to do things that need to be done, even if I don't want to do them, even after the 79 days. But I'm so looking forward to the 79 days where that's not like the focus of my life, and hopefully where it doesn't feel like it's so hard to do. And at least now I'm trying to learn to put a positive spin on it and feel good about doing it, which I'm hoping will be internalized at the end of this 100 days so that I will want to continue to do it because it feels good and I won't feel like it's something I don't want to do anymore. It'll be things I want to do and that I'm okay with doing. And then I won't have that gap between this is what I want to accomplish, but I don't want to do the steps in between because maybe the steps in between won't be so horrible anymore. Anyway, I'm rambling because when I'm done with this, I have to go to bed. And again, I have some aversion to going to bed and turning my brain off, and I need to turn my brain off because I am sick and I need to go to bed. So that is all I have for today. If you like these videos, you can like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll like it too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude and maybe find some things to do that you don't like to do, but you know will be good for you.